Right, so we're back. And if you can tell by the title, guys, we're joined by, I'll say, a pretty special guest. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I would say, I don't think it's an understatement to say it's probably the biggest surprise of 2021 or the best kept secret of 2021. Yeah, I mean, I think you guys saw last week on Artist Spotlight number 45. And then also we take turns doing the Artist Spotlight. And I saw John kind of posted someone, and I was like, okay, cool, they're cool. I saw the video before the picture, right? This is to give a backstory. So I think I saw the video for Wise Tale, and I was like, I thought it was a girl on the bed who was rapping. I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. Never seen that. It has a bit of a dark voice. And then I go to the picture, I was like, oh wait, no, it's two of them, and they're quite grown. So I did think, okay, what's going on here? Like, no. I think a large time, I think, John, you can attest to this. It's like when you see people kind of coming back together, it's either, it could be like, you know, a Tribe Called Quest was like, oh my gosh, everything like, you know, hits, like all cylinders like are hitting.
Yeah.
Or it could be others where it's like, oh, they're just kind of having like a reunion and it's like, well, what's going on here? But I think it was definitely not any of that, to be honest. Definitely not any of that. So, yeah, so a bit of a long intro, just go around the houses, but we're joined by Abstract Mindstate. I'll say, I think an interesting fact, which I don't think people really kind of press on enough. I think you guys mentioned in another interview where you guys were the only male-female hip-hop duo, which still sounds crazy in my head because obviously hip-hop's been around for how long?
You end up mentioning it in every interview.
Yeah.
Yeah, you say how long? It's been 48 years. Hip-hop has been in existence for 48 years. As about what, a week or two ago, it was hip-hop's birthday.
Yeah.
And it has never been a male-female duo, crazy as it sounds. It just hasn't happened yet.
It just, because you know it is, right? Because I think, again, in the world we live in, right, I think people think, yeah, change can be so quick and things are just, people are really progressive. And then you look back, you're like, wait, there's still so many people who are like winning this award for the first time, who's a black person, or doing this for the first time. It's like, yeah, it's like we're not anywhere. We're not that close, but yeah.
And given the like 10, 15 year hiatus in your back, and you're like, oh, cool, nothing's changed. We're still the first.
Right. Actually, sick to correct is 16 years. So
16.
It's
crazy.
I jokingly say God left the space open for us. You know, we created the space and then it stayed open for 16 years until we came back. You know?
Oh gosh, yeah, honestly. I guess, I mean, let's kind of just go straight into it, right? So I guess I'll give the audience a bit of a backstory so we can avoid repeating ourselves. So yeah, both you guys are Chicago natives, I believe.
Yes.
And you both went to college in Jackson, Mississippi, which I don't think most people also audience know, but you know, there's a backstory there. And I guess that's where you kind of met. There was like you guys were on the train together, and then I guess Olskool didn't know that you could rap, Evie. He didn't know. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then, it's like what I realized, John, sometimes some of the guests we have on is like a movie. It just kind of happens like whatever. Yeah. I think those are the best moments. So you're on the train, you know, obviously Olskool's rapping, and then obviously EP starts rapping. It's like, oh my gosh,
the camera pans.
Like,
and if you could have saw us on that train, it would have been a movie.
Exactly.
If you could have saw what was all going on that train, it was definitely a movie. It would have been somewhere. It was somewhere between Beach Street meets what's the one with Will Ferrell when he went back to school and they was all crazy. Olskool, that was the name of it. I should remember that. Olskool meets Beach Street. That's what that was like.
So just kind of start off what you kind of mentioned with Chicago. I think when a lot of people think of Chicago, they might think of Chance the Rapper. See, guys, people thought I was going to say Kanye West there, but I think they think of Chance the Rapper, you know, the more modern day guys, you know, No Names, you know, Salva, stuff like that. But yes, they also do think of Kanye West. But I think one thing that's quite interesting about you guys' history, I think for people who probably live in Chicago, mainly, you guys were kind of the OGs, like before Kanye and College Dropout, you guys were there making music. So I guess it would kind of be good to kind of get an insight of like what it was like at the time, like kind of being like, I guess, one of the people at the forefront of Chicago music.
Yeah, Chicago's golden era is what we called it. Yeah. I mean, it was pretty. Go ahead, P.
No, we were actually, like you said, the OGs of Chicago hip hop. And like even now, people who from Chicago who knew our stuff then, and MCs, male, female groups, real hip hop, grassroots hip hop in Chicago, they are over the top that we are back out. And it's so amazing. Like you know, to toot our own horn, like I knew we were dope. And we got respect throughout the city, throughout the Midwest, you know, Japan, but like you never know until you leave and come back what your impact truly is. Because people are older, people are more willing to say, wow, you know, y'all did it then, y'all back. Like, you know, this is some hot shit. You know, they're doing it by IG, they're doing it by phone calls, they're doing it by Facebook. But, you know, we kind of knew what we were back then. And but we didn't care, you know, around us. We loved everybody, but we didn't care what they thought about our music because it was about us and the type of music and the type of movement that we wanted to present, you know, to the world. So we didn't really care if people you know, thought of us in a specific light, right? That wasn't the goal. And now to fast forward to these years, and the same people who we were performing on stage with, who like were in all of our live show, in all of the way that the chemistry between us, right? They're giving it up freely now. And you can see that, you know, we did have a serious impact on Chicago hip hop. Common, you know, Chance, you know, like we had a serious impact. And it's great to see now when you get a little bit older, you kind of look for outside, you know, to say, okay, that's kind of dope. You don't want to, you know, and I think that our motivation for doing it now is a little bit different. So we don't even look for the same adulation and outside, you know, cheering session or anything. We don't, like, it was different back then because it was like, we'll rap for food, you know what I mean? You know, it was just like for the love. We didn't care, you know what I mean, about what happened artists because of it, you know. We just knew we loved it and we wanted to do it, guys, and whatever happened from it, that's what happened. You know? But now for Kanye to recognize what we had then off of listening to one of our old mixtapes and coming to the realization that, listen, this is what the world needs to hear now. Like, that's like, for us, it was like pulling teeth, you know, trying to, like saying, is this something you want to do again? We didn't even say it to each other. He said it to Ye. Olskool said it to Ye. And when Olskool called me to try to convince me that this was something that's true, he did the same thing with me that Ye did with him, convincing us both to that this is something that the world needs right now. This is something that is a huge step away from the norm and what's going on in hip hop right now. But the message is what's needed. And it's just amazing to be back out at this time. And it's crazy because I've never been a social media like person, but because of this opportunity, we're kind of both forced to be. And we are getting inboxes and stuff from 18-year-olds, 22-year-olds. I'm not talking about just 40 and 50, but we're getting like 16-year-olds. We made the music for everybody because let's be honest, the message that's in the music is more for younger people because older people are probably already doing what we said we wanted to do.
Right, of course,
That's what surprised me, like how accessible you suddenly were. I like kind of we message artists when we feature them. We're like, I'll drop her a message, and then you came straight back. I was like, whoa, okay, what's going on?
Hey, look, that's the times we're in right now. You know, like, you know, and everything counts now. Like we're not necessarily huge fans of hanging on social media. But we both understand the importance of being active and interactive. You know what I'm saying? So that was, you know, even the response, quick time, was just being interactive and just being active. Is like you said, you see our presence, you know, we're here, like, boom, here we are, like, you know, so.
Yeah, I mean, just to touch on the active part, I mean, that's something we can't ignore. So yeah, you Evie obviously spoke a lot about like you guys were the shit back then, and you know, I mean, that's, you know, you can't really debate that. But then you disappear for like 16 years. So obviously there's so much success. You know, there's so much good going on. You're talking about the influences you've had. So there's actually a quote from A Tribe Called Quest, but I think everyone's going to know it. Obviously, industry rule number 4080, you know, record company people are shady.
Shady.
Yeah. So obviously, like, it seemed like from like another past interview that I kind of watched with you guys, it did seem like there was a bit of even from your answer, it seemed like there's a bit of like a hesitancy to kind of get back into doing this. Is there like a reason behind it? Or was there like a bad kind of like run-in with like record labels in the past? Because I know you guys you said like, you know, everyone kind of said like, we like you, just don't know where to put you. Like, did that experience really kind of put you off? Or was there something else that was like, okay, you know what? I don't want to do this at the moment. Like, F this. Like,
are you asking why we parted?
Yeah, basically.
Okay, great.
Yeah, the beat down. It was just the beat down. You know, we got beat down by our ups and downs. Like we and our ups and downs for Abstract Mindstate, our ups and downs all had to do with financial backing, because we have, like Chance the Rapper. That's why I love when we're compared to him, because we're literally everything. We are literally everything he's doing now. If we had what he has now and what he had coming into the game, which was basically the internet, if we had that level of internet activity and exposure and the way he was able to move and like the way he was able to, you know, quantify what he was doing virtually, if we were able to do that, then we would have been like legends like Common or something by now. We'll still be around, but we'll be more like Common. We'll be one of the guys that's like, yeah, that's one of the, you know, the flag bearers of the, and we still ended up being like that, just to those who knew, or definitely in our city, 100%. But to those who knew, they literally keep us on the same plane as our fellow, you know, the people that we even consider peers, you know, like the Commons and the Kanyes. And then you got legends like Juice, who, you know, who was a you know, freestyle legend. And then a lot of underground guys like All Natural, Cap D from All Natural, and all of those guys. They all hold us in like high esteem. And it's like EP was saying earlier, man, it's flattering to see your peers like the Juices and the Cap Ds from All Naturals and the Kanyes, the Commons and all of them, to be so excited, you know, for us to be in our position 16 years later. It's very flattering, and it feels good because, you know, in a sense, a few of those guys really made it big, you know, the two, you know, out of the four that just made it really huge. And they, you know, and those are two of the ones that's still working with us. You know what I'm saying? One of them is the reason y'all got this record. You know what I'm saying?
Understandable.
So,
I guess
it's pretty cool.
Yeah, kind of going on from that, obviously, like we know kind of what happens, like with you in the interim working at kind of Good Music. Just to touch on that, like given kind of what Top said about like, you know, experiences with record labels and stuff, what kind of like necessarily like lessons have you learned, or like have you kind of understood more about the business from working on, I guess, the other side?
Yeah, well, you know what, EP will tell you, I've always been like the business minded individual, and it's just that I don't think I learned more about like the 4080 thing, because we knew they were shady back then. But what I did learn were over the years, I learned who these people were, meaning like these names. I actually got to meet them in person, or befriend them, or you know, become an associate, or at least a respected peer behind the scenes in the business, with all of these names that I used to read on these, you know, cassettes and CDs. And so that's what I got when you asked Jonathan, what did I get out of it, or what I got to actually. So it wasn't that I definitely is always a learning thing. I wouldn't be so smart as to say I'm not learning constantly. No, I'm always learning, but more than anything, I got to collect the resources. I got to collect the connections. I got to connect, all of the necessary tools to actually make anybody successful. And just by the grace of God, it ended up being us again, which we never thought it would be us again. You know what I mean? It just, like I say, the ups and downs have beat us down, and we have moved on to another part of our lives and just figured, hey, that part, we did what we did. We did in a sense stick a flag in it, and we will always be remembered as that group that really brought the underground to the forefront in our city, because we kind of, broke down some walls with just because of how we were and how well we performed. And we just broke a lot of walls down and opened up the doors for a lot that came after us. Like, I don't know how well, if Chance knows, but if it wasn't for what we did, he wouldn't be able to do what he's doing, So,
yeah.
I think it's just a quick question for EP, because I think during this time, I think you're working as, just correct me if I'm wrong, you're working as a behavioral analyst before, like, coming back to music. So obviously, like, time goes on, everyone kind of has like their own like regular life, quote unquote, right? So, and then obviously, you kind of live that life. You find comfort in that, in the sense that, okay, this is my life now, move on. And then you get the call saying, right, come to LA, we're doing this again. Like, how hard was it to kind of just be like, how hard was it to kind of let go of what you would be doing for all these years and be like, okay, I'm coming back?
So, you know what? I haven't let go of it. I literally, and I talk about this all the time. So I literally had woke up one morning, and I believe, I want to say it was a Friday. I woke up on a Friday morning, and I was like, you know what? Because I don't know what made me say the words in the mirror. Like, that part of my life is over. I verbalized it. I'm by myself in the house looking in the mirror. I don't know where the inclination to say it came from, but I was looking in the mirror and I said it. I was like, okay, hip hop is gone. I've washed it away. It's over with. That's no longer part of my life. I'm about to get immersed into this board certification thing. I'm about to start doing this behavior analysis, because at the moment I had found something that I loved just as much as I love performing, just as much as I love writing. And I'm telling you guys, this was a Friday, and I get a call from Olskool on Tuesday saying Kanye wants to put us back out. I'm like, what the fuck? Like literally, like how does God make me say these words out loud to myself, and I feel hip hop washed away, and he's got the sense of humor like that to a few days after say the biggest guy in music right now, in entertainment possibly, wants to give you guys this platform to come back out because he's so appreciative of the music and of the message that he wants you guys to share with the world. And that's why I believe it took 20 minutes of convincing to even make me, know that it was something that was real, and I'm not even fully gonna say that I was convinced at that moment. I think I may have gotten convinced the moment I got to LA, because Ye told Olskool to tell EP to get out here today. This is all of this was within 3 hours, Gree?
Yeah. He wanted her to come out
immediately. And of course, I'm a board certified behavior, at that time, a behavior analyst, because I hadn't passed boards yet. But I'm like, he wants me to come out here now. I was like, after the convincing from Olskool, I'm like, no, I can't come now, but I can come like the following Saturday. And I believe this was Tuesday. And so immediately when I got out there, we went to Olskool, and I went to the Energy Center to meet with Ye. And as soon as I walked in, like, it was love for both of us, but, more for me because he hadn't seen me in years. He's with Olskool all the time, right?
Every day,
every day. But when he saw me, it was like, and I immediately wanted him to know how serious it was for me to be out there at that moment, because my father was dying. And my words to him was, is this something that you committed to? Like, don't play. Like, this is not like a time to play for me. And aside from my dad, Olskool and I had gotten our lives where we wanted it, right? We were on our way to do things and be successful, for him in music, for me professionally as a BCBA. And I think we were at our happiest. Like, I think at those points, we were both at our happiest in our lives and satisfied to where our lives had gotten. And so when I said these words to him, I'm like, look, dude, my dad is dying, and nobody could have even gotten me to fly out here at this time except you, because of our history, because of the love I have for you. You know, it was about Abstract Mindstate, but it couldn't have been Dr. Dre to get on the phone and say, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It had to be somebody more connected to us.
It had to be somebody more connected to us, and somebody that both of us felt like we loved as much as they loved us. And he was like, Ye was like, oh shit, I'm committed. These are his words. Like, I'm committed. And to the point where when after the meeting, when Olskool and I left the meeting, he was calling.
We went to get something to eat and stuff.
We went to grab something to eat. And he was like, Ye called Olskool and was like, does EP know that I'm really committed? Like, because mind you, although we were friends back then, like I don't know him as well as Olskool does. Like, personally.
It was like industry kind of connection.
Exactly. Exactly. That was he and ours relationship to that point. That's all it was. But he and Olskool are, like, I could say, the best of friends. So he wanted to get Olskool's gauge on how I was feeling, and did I want to really come on board, and did I know his level of commitment? You know? Yeah,
he was like, do EP think I'm? Hey, let her know I'm serious. Like, does she believe me? And you know, he was like, do she believe me, man? Make sure she know I'm, you know, for real. And I was like, all right, you know, because then I mean, y'all got to think about it, man. That's like I say, that's a surreal, unrealistic, for what we've been taught. Because, you know, a lot of the teachings are bad, but from what we've been taught with hip hop, our situation doesn't exist.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, just think about the rules of hip hop. We breaking all kinds of rules of hip hop right now. Like, you know what I'm saying? So
we're breaking them and setting standards at the same time. Like, we're breaking rules and making new rules. Like, this is
exactly.
Like, you know,
we cracking down walls and rebuilding it. Exactly. It's great what she said. Yeah.
And I guess kind of getting a little bit more into, like, once this kind of decision has been made and you kind of like start working with Kanye, like how did you kind of adapt to working with him? Because obviously he has such a unique process. I'm imagining, like, he sent you what was it, 100 beats to pick from?
He didn't necessarily send them.
All right.
Okay. So the story of how the beats got made, realize I'm an A&R for good music at this time. And we were working on, we were setting up. I have to always stress that the famous Wyoming sessions that you can put in Google and put Wyoming sessions and see everything come up. Those sessions existed after the pre-sessions that took place before the majors, which was what we were referring to as music retreats. We would go away to Wyoming. Not Cody, where he ended up buying all the land and had the farm, what am I trying to say, the ranch and all of that. Yeah, the ranch. No, that was Cody. It all started in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and we used to stay in what's the name of them? Like super nice.
Amangani.
Yeah, the Amangani. All the Amman properties are supposed to be like the best. Hospitality places you can stay in around the world. and they are. Look, and I stayed in almost all of them. So yes, they really are nice. So we were in Amman out there in Wyoming, and the bottom line is we went out there for retreats, for music retreats, which allow Ye to get away from the city, go somewhere rural. That was
not
Not yeah. It
Not
wasn't
yet.
EP exactly, not yet. It would be me. It would be the team around Kanye, like a little small team. It's probably only be about 5 of us, and he would go out there and I actually went record shopping with him. That to pick, to shop for the records that ultimately became the samples that he chopped up for all of those records for Kids See Ghost, Pusha T, Tiana, that Nas, that whole little run. So then you got to realize Kanye made about 500, 600 beats for that. And I'm sitting there and I'm literally for several, because we stayed out there for several weeks. One time we was out there for almost a month and another time for a few weeks. And both times, all we do is a combination of eat together, talk and build on ideas and creativity, and watch Kanye chop up these beats. So I'm literally sitting next to him on the ASR while he chopping all these beats up. So what happens is we do the Wyoming sessions, and that's EP got to come during the Wyoming sessions when Nas and everybody was in the house. So she got to experience that. But as you see, she's shaking her head because there's a story behind her and Nas and how, that's a whole moment for EP, because how you've had your favorite MCs and then you finally end up in a room with like the God and that. So we just had so much fun with her being in the room with Nas, just laughing at the energy of just like, wow, like, Escobar is right there, you know what I mean? But anyway, that's a whole nother story. But the point is, so when those beats were made, before we got to the recording sessions, Kanye started going through beats and he said he wanted to get our beats. So he went to those beats, and it was by this time it was about 300 because he done already got all of we'll just call them the stars. He got all of the stars stuff done and out the way, got those guys out the way, the established acts. He got their stuff out the way. Now it's about 300 beats left out of 500 or 600. And he just started going through them in front of me in the studio with his engineer at the time, guy named Noah Goldstein. That's my man. Love Noah. He's a good guy. We going through it and he just talking Noah through it like, okay, he would just simply have his head down like he was in some concentration mode, and he'd be like, go to the next beat. Okay, that one, put that in the folder. Next one, put that in the folder. And he kept doing that process I was doing with the eyes closed, head down, like he was in this like concentration thing. And he did that until he ended up with 100 folders in the beats. By the time he got to the 300, it was 100. And then he looks over at me and tells me, so I want you to take these 100 to EP and y'all find y'all album in these beats. So
Olskool didn't know that those were for us when he was saying folder. He put that in there. He didn't know that was for us.
And he gave them all to me. I was like, oh, like, I knew we were supposed to find some beats, but I didn't think I was about to get 100 beats. You know what I mean? I just wasn't expecting 100 beats. I just wasn't. And so this folder came, I got this folder, I left with this jump drive, and I called EP like, yo, like, you know what I'm saying? We got
the mother load.
So what I like to say he did was, first he curated what he felt like he would like to hear us on, then he left it up to us to literally find within his curation what we know we supposed to be on.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. That's the best way I can verbalize it. Like, this is his curation down to 300 to 100. Now let me leave it up to you guys who know yourself. Now you find what works for Abstract in that. Yeah, and we found we found 10 beats that we were happy with, and we was happy with where we recorded. He was happy with where we recorded. Then he made us record 10 more. Right when we thought we was done and ready to get to this album and start, going to the next phase. But we
was happy as hell. Like, yay, look what we got. Yay. It was like, oh, yeah, these dope. Give me 10 more.
we looked like, what? Like, I couldn't, it was weird because I was thinking like, what are we doing? He was like, man, he's good. But I just know if we keep recording, it's just gonna get better and better. And
they did.
And it did. It actually
did. They did.
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to ask about that process because obviously I think everyone who kind of like can see Kanye in the media and stuff like that, he seems like a guy who's very hands-on. I think I think you've seen you guys even mention that he didn't want any outside influence when it came to this record and stuff like that. It seems like a very like straight like no to the ground type of guy. And I guess for people who are trying to get back into it after like a decade and a half, I'm guessing did that kind of put a lot of pressure on you guys? Like how hard was it to kind of like get back into that like I guess that state of mind where it's like, okay, like you are demanded, like, okay, we want you to be this good. Like there's the pressure to be this good at something. And it's Kanye West on top of that. Like, was it a stressful process kind of get back into the groove of it?
Well, so the pressure came, I wouldn't even call it pressure because Olskool and I had a discussion before we even started recording, right? We had a discussion about like, okay, and I initiated the conversation, and it was crazy because coming from me, it was like a bow down. We were like, if Ye asked us to do something with the music in any way, with our lyrics in any way, we have to be open to do it. And we've never been that group. Nobody from outside of he and I'm talking about nobody. Yep. From outside, he and I. And honestly, within our group, I couldn't tell him to take a word out or add a word, and he couldn't tell me to do that. Like, and that was the dynamic of the group. And so for me to say to Olskool, and we had this talk before we even started recording, like whatever he asked us to do, we're gonna do it because for one thing, it's Ye. Two things, like everything he touches turns into what he wanted it to be. So obviously he has a formula and he knows what he wants to hear, and he knows what everybody else wants to hear and needs, even before they know they need it. That's what's crazy. Like before people knew that this project was needed, this was 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. And we're out now, like right in the middle of chaos in the human race, not just America, in the human race, in the world. And so we were open, and we made ourselves open to him to this pliability, right? And for him to kind of mold this project into what he wants it to be and what he thinks it needs to be. And that consists of changing lyrics, changing the order of songs.
Changing the order of how we came verses, on the tracks.
Changing. I'm telling you,
even the construction of it. Remember, he took a whole beginning off one of my raps. Remember, he was like, start the rhyme here. Like those first 4 bars, just take those off.
When on Salutations, when he was like, put Jankia in the beginning too. Don't just have that open. That what she's saying is so prolific. We need her to be saying that in the beginning of the song, right? And that wasn't even the first. That wasn't even the first album, the first song on the album. Then
it wasn't. It was just a song.
All of them, we was like, Salutations, that sounds like the beginning of our album. And for her to open it up with those words, it just sets the stage of the project and what you guys are about to hear and experience. So
and that's the difference.
Olskool and I say he actually produced this.
I was just about to go. No, I was about to go into that. I was going to say that's the difference between somebody being a beat maker and a producer. Like he was all like, if it was what is it, like, I don't know, ground turkey or something with the seed. You know what I'm saying? He was like the bell peppers. He was like really putting his hands in it, and he was changing and shaping it, still allowing it to be a hamburger at the end of the day. But he was really like, you know what I mean, putting some seasoning in it and changing stuff around. And like we have it, and we like this ideas. Like honestly, throughout the album, it's stuff that we forget to talk about that I'm remembering since EP said that. Remember EP? He was the one that said it was some things that didn't even make it on the album, like on which song is it? I think it's Expository Mode. We were trying to have a DOC scratch that put it in the drop it on the one boy, whatever it was. Yeah, he was like, put that DOC scratch, has self-born scratch DOC right there. So he was really like,
yeah.
You know, he
the
was
reason it's
like,
not on there.
Right, it's not on there. It's not on there because Eazy-E's wife, Tamika Wright, never responded. She was the only one out of all of the in a sample and clearing a sample, you know, as all the publishers. She was the only one, because it was like 4 people attached to just that scratch, that record. And she was the only one that didn't respond and never responded. And I was calling people that know her, and you know, but she just never responded. So we had to just take it off, you know. So we couldn't even use. But we just gave you. I'm just sharing a little cool inside stuff like that, just to show you how involved he was, you know. It was even his idea from listening to because EP wanted him to listen to Steel Pan, which was the album that led to the mixtape. That Steel Pan was the album that forced us to create the mixtape, Chicago's Hardest Working Volume 2, which was the mixtape that ended up putting us in this situation. But I bring that up because on Steel Pan, we're known for we kind of like De La Soul or one of those groups. We known for our skits. We always, or NWA, you know, we always have funny skits. So Kanye, remember in the Lambo truck, because when y'all, it's a song they call Lambo Truck Podcast. One of the things he said, that's real too. Like, we really in his Lambo, the sounds you hearing is actually all was real. When Lucas Sabat was doing that skit, we in the car and I'm just holding my phone up to his mouth when he did that. But Ye looked at us and said, we got to bring the skits back. Remember, he said, like, we got to bring those skits back. And at first I was like, bring this. I was like, oh yeah, you heard Steel Pan, the skits. Yeah, we got skits. I was like, yeah, definitely, man. EP all about the skits, and that, you know. And that's how Lucas Sabat ended up doing a couple of skits, because in the moment he was sitting in the car with us and he said, man, that's what me and my partner does. And Kanye was like, what you mean? He was like, well, I got a partner, you know, we do skits, like it's a little thing. He was like, really? He was like, let me hear it. Let me hear you do one right now. And then he was like, he just looks over at me and was like, yo, record them. You know, and he started doing them, and he did a couple of skits, and we in the car laughing, and literally that's what made it onto the album.
And we just kept them.
We just kept them, you know.
I mean, yeah, just to touch on that a little bit more, because I think that's one of the things that it makes a lot more sense now. Because obviously, it felt like when I was listening to the skits, it felt like it, in a sense, it was like you guys trying to like anticipate the response to the album. Like, do you know what I mean? Like going on a podcast like you are now, or like people saying, "Oh yeah, there's just some old heads coming back together." Like, kind of right. Was that the purpose of the skits, or was it just there for fun? Like, yeah, we could get.
It was fun. For us, the skits are always for fun, but I think it feels the way you're saying, because everything with us kind of has this I don't know, it's like an overtone or something, and the intentions are like embedded in the idea, so it may feel like, man, they may have knew this, that, and the third, but no, we just in the moment. And I think some of the coolest stuff come out of the moment. You know what I'm saying? Even the Dion Cole thing, that was something he said. You know, he said in Vegas, and he said all of that, and it was wild that he, you know, and that was all from him listening to some of the roughs. I let him hear some of the roughs when it wasn't even mixed yet, but it was a lot of the songs, almost all of the album, and he like went crazy, and all of that stuff he's saying is actually what he said. It's real.
I was going to ask about that one, because that kind of
he actually said those things.
They were all together kicking it in Vegas, and that just happened.
That just happened. You know, so everything about that album, what makes Dream Still Inspired cool is it's really real, you know. And the only reason that skit was called Lambo Truck Podcast is because Luca was like funny, sounding like that one of those skits, I should say. He was like jokingly sounding like some kind of radio DJ or something. So we just out of fun, we called it a podcast, but we was literally in the Lambo truck. So we was like the Lambo Truck Podcast, you know. That was just to have fun with it, you know. So
I was gonna ask, so obviously in the Dion Cole kind of like voicemail where he's like that vibe that made hip hop, was it a vibe ain't got an age? Like, does that kind of I mean, that obviously is like quite kind of, when you break it down, like, does that kind of resonate like a lot with you both, given that like when you return after such a long time, there could be people could think, are they going to be like out of touch sonically? Are they going to be talking about stuff that doesn't actually mean anything to me anymore? But like, it's ageless.
Jonathan, right? That encompasses the whole project. Like because we had already decided, Olskool and I, that would be the best part of our interviews when people talk about our age. Because we did. We were already prepared for it, and it's like Dion didn't know what we were gonna say. Like he didn't know that we've had these conversations already, but he put it. I mean, he perfectly. That's the microcosm, right? A vibe has no age, and that feeling that you all got when you first heard it, that's the feeling we got when we first heard Tribe. That's the feeling we got when we first heard De La. That's the feeling I got when I first heard Mobb Deep. You know what I mean?
Right. Jungle Brothers.
About true hip hop.
Yeah. We created what EP and I did. I won't even say we tried because we did it. What we did was, and let me just go back and say, I just want to, extremely over the top shout out Deon Cole, because a vibe don't have an age is like that could be the tagline for our whole existence in this right now. It's like, you know what I mean? For him to even say a line like that is so prolific that it's like we can run with that. Yeah, you know what I mean? But but it's just crazy because what I was gonna say was we created what we created was, and it feels good to be able to say this now since the reviews and the write-ups and all of the stuff and the DMs, the overwhelming amount of DMs she and I both get. It feels so good to know that we actually gave the same feeling that everybody that we love gave us. Man, that's really cool. Man, that feels so good. Like it feels so good because you don't understand. Me and EP cracking open a new Jungle Brothers album or a Poor Righteous Teachers.
It was a ritual.
It was a ritual. We would fit EP. Did we not? We would like fix the moment up. We might have.
We'll be on campus, guys. We'll be on campus. It's Friday when shit come out. Whoever it was, we'll run to the record store, grab it, go get a case of beer. Go back to
we got to get a case.
And everybody will come over and me and him will probably listen to it first.
Right.
And then everybody else will come over the same night and we pop in the same shit and everybody in there feels exactly.
Yeah, and it was like she said, it was a ritual. Like it was like we was having a seance. So those records, Cypress Hill, all of those good golden era hip hop records that influenced us, KMD that before them doing and KM, all that stuff, man, we would just really damn near zone out, right? EP, we would literally like zone all the way out.
I would even go further. You remember how we used to cut our motherfucking head out? We'll like not eat for Friday and go buy the record. Like we'll be like, how the fuck I'm gonna eat? But you know what I'm saying? Food, KMD.
Food or this new Biggie album.
You know what I'm saying? Which one? We didn't eat just because that was that good shit.
Yeah. And I think that's where even with us, we always say, we got that food. And I think those terms, more than just being cool metaphors, I think we fed ourselves off of this music. So I'm just saying, this is just a long way of me saying, I feel so fortunate that she and I, as Abstract Mindstate, after that hiatus and everything we went through, the ups and downs, all of the changes, that we actually have an album where 16-year-olds from Brazil is DMing me saying that, oh, my life is different. Thank y'all for making this album. And I'm like, what are you doing over in Argentina listening to Abstract Mind? I'm telling you, like, this is real. I'm not fabricating this EP. We both getting, she'll call me and be like, yo, somebody hit me from so-and-so. I'd be like, I got a hit from Argentina,
I think we should tap more into that actually, because I think, everything you're saying, like, obviously, no doubt. Like, I think even the fact that obviously me and John are now like our mid-20s, right? And we're relating to the music you're saying as well. I think the thing that's quite like, I guess quite astounding in a way. I know it's quite a big word, but like the fact that I guess you guys have been gone for so long, I guess you guys are like in your 40s, but it's like you guys don't sound like you're out of place at all in any sense, right? So like, was it hard to find, because I think there's a fine line, right, between like coming back with age, and it's like, it's a bit corny. Some people might be like, oh, this person's just preaching to the choir. Or to be like, yeah, modern, but then you don't be too modern and sound like, oh, you're just that, like, you know, that guy who's wearing the cap backwards in the party kind of thing. You don't want to be that guy either. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, was it kind of hard to find that balance to be like, okay, cool, like we
absolutely
obviously were
not.
Olskool. Yeah, no,
absolutely not.
Cool.
Because we're doing exactly what we did years ago. It's the same thing. The only thing different is Ye doing all of our beats, because he's done beats for us before.
Yeah.
But this time we were produced by Kanye West, the biggest fucking Michael Jackson person in music. And I'm gonna go back to and piggyback on something Olskool just said. It is so dope because those 16-year-olds that he's talking about, they don't know who the fuck De La is. They don't know who
exactly.
But now they
don't know who Jungle Brother is.
Now they're about to find out because they like, what is this sound? That is one of the most pleasing things about this project. Giving people a choice. A choice. Whatever music we presented to them, they have a choice now. In hip hop. They have a choice when they listen to rap music now. You know, forever, however long. But this project is gonna open the door for them to go back and be like, they're gonna listen to our old shit. Most of them have already, right? They're on band camp right now, listening to Steel Pain, listening to, you know what I mean? You
Chicago's
know,
Hardest Working Volume 1.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so now they're like, shit, this shit existed. This is listen to what they're saying. This existed. So they're finna go try to find something else from the 90s. Something else from 91. Like, okay, if they doing this back then and they were out then, who else was doing it? Because we're the moniker that people in all these interviews have gave us is the biggest group you never heard of.
Yeah.
The most
that's who we are. That's who we are. We the biggest group you never heard of.
Exactly. And for those people from Australia, they got the record before anybody did, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they did.
It was like bombs over Baghdad. Like shit was blowing up. It was blowing up. And also to tell you, I'm not an IG person.
Was like
it's crazy.
Australia had it because it was already a day later in Australia from our release date. You know, our release. And oh man, the DMs. It put it like this. Honestly, guys, if it wouldn't have been me seeing it myself or it's happening to me, I wouldn't have believed. It would have been hard to believe. Like, you get what I'm saying? But I was like, I was like looking side to side, like, is this real? Like, this amount of people are responding to this, and they keep hitting our group DM, our individual DMs, and they just singing us praises, you know, and it did our heart good because I'm gonna be honest, and now I'm cool with it. Me, EP and I, we don't have a problem with the young cats making their money and doing a trap and all of that. We're two that's like, hey, one of the things I can personally say I'm happy about, and I know I'm probably speaking for her too, is they getting their money, and we haven't seen like young Black kids become millionaires at 17 years old, like not in our lifetime. And hip and this new rap, although some of it is a lot of it gets redundant, and it's this
nonsense for that.
I mean, it just gets redundant because they just keep rap. I don't know how they manage to sound just like the last one. I mean, even vocally,
I think they're doing it on purpose,
and they can sound exactly the same and still sell just as many as the last guy. I don't know how that works, but I'm not mad at it. What me and EP are trying to say is, man, what about some alternatives? It's cool, get y'all money. We ain't even mad at y'all. But we remember a time when you had options is the word. We had options, you know what I mean? And nobody sounded the same. So what we tried to do was what we did with Dream Still Inspire was we just provided an option. And that kind of leads me into my conversation of a genre that I'm working on creating, this ACH, adult contemporary hip hop, which is not based on, because the word adult in it, don't get it twisted and think it's based on age or old. It's just the sound. It's a mature sound. I'm gonna start changing the word mature, and I'm gonna just say traditional. Adult contemporary hip hop embraces the traditional hip hop aesthetics.
Yes,
you know, it's heavily. You know what I'm saying? It heavily focuses on lyrical content and cadence, and the production is soulful. That is what makes something adult contemporary hip hop. That's why I'm able to say Corday Joey Badass or you know what I mean, or Bishop LaRue or J. Cole, Kendrick. That's adult contemporary hip hop.
They don't even know that that's what they are. But
I'm working on that category right now, guys. Like seriously, like I'm seriously sitting down with people with the Grammy committee, and they're trying to help me help this situation, because I'm we're actually what's the word I'm trying to say? We're passionate about it. I want to open just the same way we tried to provide through Dream Still Inspire just an alternative or an option. I'm trying to do that with these award shows as well, because I don't never want to see a 2017, I believe it was, where Kendrick is in the same category as like Macklemore and Ryan, and such an important album loses. And me personally, I'll go on record and say, I'm not mad at Macklemore and Ryan. They actually had a cool thing going. But was it supposed to be in the same category with Kendrick? Was that supposed to be in? No, it wasn't. And if anybody was to win, I'm sorry, it should have been Kendrick. Am I mad at Macklemore? No, because I like Thrift Shop and all them. So I thought they were cool songs. Yeah, that was some cool stuff. You know what I'm saying? I thought he made great songs. So it just didn't. It just needed some more room, and we needed to stretch the category a little bit to allow room, and that's one of the things that we trying to do.
Yeah. And you know what? And I'll say this too. Olskool just hit it on a point. Like, we love good music. We don't just listen to hip hop. Like we love good music. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter what type of music it is, as long as it's good. As long as it's good music. And Greg Olskool, he asked the question. He was like, "Why is it that people go in the studio and they come out doing exactly what the person before doing, and people still love it? It's because they don't have an alternative. They don't. It's like if that's all that's being cooked, we got to eat it because we hungry, right? If that's the only thing, if it's just white rice, we finna just keep eating this white rice. This shit boring as hell, but we hungry as hell. So we gonna go do it. But
we gonna consume it.
We gonna consume it. But now you know what I'm saying. We got some rice and beans for you. We got some rice.
Now we got some brown rice. We got some cilantro rice.
Oh yeah, we got some jasmine rice for you. You know
right. Basmati. Some basmati rice.
We got some basmati for you.
Let's get into it though. Like talking about the new album before we kind of like go into some of the songs. Like looking just at the cover, like to start with. Like obviously the covers of like the photographer's muse, but like what was the kind of the decision to not be on the cover yourselves, I guess, with this?
Because we wanted everything to be represented by art. That was our, if you look at our old covers, you know what I'm saying? Even if you look at our old covers, we tried to make our old covers look like moments and like a Renaissance, a moment in the Renaissance era. Look at our like our old, like look at Steel Pan, look at We Paid Let Us In. We Paid Let Us In was in a sepia tone on purpose because at the time the photographer that we worked with, he was influenced. He put me up on a black photographer from the Renaissance era named James Van Der Zee. And when I saw Van Der Zee's photography, EP and I was over at his at this photographer's house. That was Johnny. And you might even remember EP, we was going through a book and I was like, look at this guy. And we was really like into this James Van Der Zee dude. And we started going to do shots and we tried to capture Gothic moments and we just was trying to capture moments.
I think that's when we fell in love with black and white too. Black and white.
Exactly. We fell in love with black and white photo. And actually our cover is actually a black, that photo, the original photo is black and white. That green came in when a graphic artist came in and kind of put some sauce on it a little bit and it turned green. And we was like, whoa, this is nice. But EP and I, it's the way she looks and she's like, she's hopeful and thinking, you know, when you say Dream Still Inspired, she looks like she was in a state. And it was a moment. She looked like she got caught in a moment. And if Dream Still Inspired, that looks like a moment that you're probably thinking about, like your dream or something you really want to accomplish or do. So she encompassed that, you know what I'm saying? And so in deciding that, like EP and I, this time it was a little deeper than even us being in it. It was just like we wanted our covers to look like something you want to hang on your wall.
Yeah, that's the cool thing about like if you look at like Mixtape Volume 2, you've kind of got like that. You're looking up that kind of like almost.
Oh yeah, you saw we
360.
always try to do something like, you know, And
then you go to like the cover for A Wise Tale, and it's like a different perspective, but again, two kids, and it's like you've kind of panned the camera down almost.
It's
You get what I'm
cool. saying? So it's kind of and when I like A Wise Tale, the photo that represents A Wise Tale, because it's a guy and a girl. That's me. I look at me and EP. We're a guy and a girl. They're running. The kids are running in the projects in Chicago. They're running away from the projects, but it's looked like they're having such a good time in such a rough or bad environment. So it's like, man, it's just like the best of a moment. And that's us. That's our real life. Like our real life, that's us. We're from the west side and south side of Chicago. EP being the west side, me from south side, and I'm from Inglewood. What's looked at as the highest. Well, it is the highest crime rated area on the south side, but it is, that's where we're from.
The west side, which is the highest crime area.
Yeah, which is the highest crime rated area. So we're from the same thing. So, artwork just, for us, it just has to be some kind of symbolization and just some kind of meaning, because it's just like our music. We just always like to make sense and let it mean something. That's all.
It's like not new. It's not new at all.
It's not new for us. We're doing the same thing we always been doing. You know? We just get to do it as adults. We get to have 20-year-old fun as grown men and women. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair.
We get to exercise our pen and have fun with the wordplay. She and I are like the kings and queens of double and triple entendres. Some of these kids don't even know what that word means.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
we've been doing it forever.
We've been doing it forever. I mean, people, we laugh at what's said about our lyrics. People will come to me and say, did EP just use, and say a word? And I'd be like, yep, that's what she said. It's like, who uses these words in their rhymes? But we come from an era when going to the dictionary and encyclopedia to find new ways to say a word or just discover a new word. That's what it was about. And we still do it. We just don't change, man. And I think when you're authentic, when you're real, that's why I think we're getting away. I believe we're getting away with it because it's really us.
Yeah,
that's how we're pulling off this right now. Because
you know
what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, speaking of covers, I mean, I don't know if you can help us out, but if you can give Kanye West a ring, so we can have a cover for the Donda song, that'd be great. Because a black cover is just a bit too ominous for me.
Oh, right.
Yeah. I'm joking. I mean, we spoke about it just like briefly now. Wise Tale. Obviously, that's the lead single for this album. Obviously, a great song, very soulful, very relatable. I think, again, like I said, I think you guys have done a great job of trying to be related to especially people of a young age. Obviously, I think for people, I guess I won't give the whole thing away. I think we should just go and listen to it. It's a good song. But I guess with the experiences, I guess both yourself and Eve are kind of talking about, is this more just like an observation and you guys doing social commentary, or this this is kind of like, we're telling you these things because we've been through it ourselves. Like, okay, we've been in a similar situation and we're telling you guys, this is what to watch
Nobody
out for.
ever asked us that.
That's brand new.
The expose.
And I'm surprised we haven't gotten that yet. Because
that's great.
People have asked us what we mean. People have asked us in a roundabout way what y'all talking about. Nobody has asked us, was that y'all shit?
Yeah, I'm pretty direct, man. I'll just talk straight.
That's so funny. Oh man. Do we answer? Do we answer or do we do that artist thing where we just say, inquiring minds want to know?
So for me, I will say, okay, let's just say it's happened to a lot of people.
Right.
Basically, I think my verse is a little more discernible than Olskool's.
Yeah.
Because he had to tell me what the fuck he was talking about. like he had to tell me. I listened to it and I kept listening to it and I was like, and then I say something to him. He's like, "No, that's not what I was talking about." So when he finally told me what he was talking about, I was like, oh shit, I'd have never got that. I'd have never got that. And we've been around with each other for 40 years now, but I would have never got that. Yeah. But, so for me, it's just a chick that's untruthful, like somebody who's untruthful. Like just watch yourself, because she might be telling you she over here, but she right here. You know what I mean? And she telling you. So that's just it. It's just a wise tale, just being on the lookout for a certain type of female.
Right. Okay.
And I kind of gave mine away in the making on our YouTube. If you go to the YouTube, I kind of gave away what I was talking about. But basically, it's just about a chick that's not like taking care of herself, hygiene wise, and you get caught up in that situation where you have to tell her, look, you need to, you need to handle this problem. But you're trying to say it you're trying to find the nicest way to say it without like hurting her feelings. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I go through, but in my story, I go through telling her and was polite about it, but still ended up, it still ended up going wrong, because it's just how do you, I don't even think it's a right way to tell somebody, like, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean?
It's because it shouldn't happen. Like,
right. But unfortunately it does, so you be like, how do you, that's just like, when you're trying to tell your friend that they're musty, how do you be like, man, how do you be like, or no, let's make it worse. It's a girl and she musty. Like, how's this cute girl you out on a date with and she musty? How do you come out and be like, you need to get some deodorant? Like,
that's just the last date.
Right.
That's the last date.
Right.
Yeah.
Look. When they not say, this might be a small thing, kind of revolving.
Actually, another thing I actually picked up on. I don't know if it was intentional, but when I heard your first Olskool, it kind of felt like Olskool Kanye in that sense, like where he would kind of like enunciate certain words. Was that intentional?
Hey, I mean,
you're both from Chicago. So.
Put it like this: we both from Chicago, and I've been doing my thing. So a lot of people say, man, we can hear the, we can hear the similarities, and some people just came straight out and said, man, now we see where Kanye got his thing from. And I never was one to be, I was never one. I've never been and will never be one to be like, he got my style. I'm very like humble with it. And I'll say I've been doing it longer. So I didn't get it. I'll say I've been doing it longer and I didn't get it from him. That's just me.
No, that makes sense.
That's just me styling out. EP, we can pull out old stuff, and we style out all the time. And that was just one of the. We just kind of styled out,
Yeah.
It's funny when Tope just went straight in with asking you the question. That reminded me of.
That was hilarious.
I was wondering, like, how are they gonna like spin it? Are they gonna do like a? What is it? Kanye West on Watch the Throne. He's like, nobody knows what it means. It's like, it's provocative. Figure it out.
That's why I said, EP, do we do the artist thing? And like, see what happened was.
I guess going to another song. In I Know You, there's the quote one of you said, I think it's EP, you say, invest in you some stock, open a Chick-fil-A before you're on the block, back to the Pistol Way. I guess the question for you on this is like, are these kind of lessons that you guys are talking about in the song for your younger selves, or like for your younger selves and the audience as well? Because I know like talking about like business acumen or like ways to kind of look at your finances better.
It's both. It's both, because I just started investing and like, like a year ago, not even a full year, I don't think. But it is like a ode to like, don't wait until you're 49 years old to start trying to do things a different way.
Yeah.
And when you do it the right way, so you won't have to go back to the block and sell drugs. You won't have to go back to the block and do everything that that allowed you to get that paper up, right? Because I mean, like, they're stepping stones, right? And we can't knock, people for doing what they think they have to do to get it at a certain station, right? Right. So once you're at that station, you shouldn't have to revert back to things that you're not proud of.
Yes.
Things that you're not, that are not pleasing to God.
Speak.
Yeah. So once you're at that certain point, you have to just, let that stuff go. And then you position yourself in a way that you won't have to do that again. You won't have to go back, And so, yeah. And you know what? I Know You was one of the first songs that we did.
Yeah.
And it's crazy.
And that's the last song on the album.
And that's the last song on the album.
That's one of the, I think that was number 2. It could have been between 1 and 2.
Maybe 2. No, 1 was the one, because remember we did the one about the chick.
Right. But I Know You was in the first, first
I think the first
2 or 3 songs.
Yeah, I think the first 3, and you could tell. I could tell on my verse that it's an early song.
Well, nobody can really. That's just artist personal stuff.
Yes,
y'all wouldn't know.
Yeah.
That's why I said me.
Yeah.
That's why I said me.
I know. No, I was telling them. I wasn't.
No, it's not more. No,
But,
I mean, sorry, continue.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, when I hear this song, it reminds me a lot of J. Cole's 1985, when he's kind of talking to the younger heads and being like, "Hey, touring, how we eat in this rap game, put that money, all that stuff, right?" It kind of reminds me of that. And there's another, I guess there's another song actually where
I was gonna say what it makes me think of as well. What are you gonna
go.
say? I was gonna say there's like a section of a verse in the story of OJ where Jay-Z is kind of talking about investing in the neighborhood and
exactly. But no, actually, I wasn't going to say that, John, but good point. No, I was actually going to say it reminds me of another song on this album. And it's kind of interesting because instead of looping it in with this song, I Know You, you've made it a whole song. So I guess it's quite significant to both of you guys, which is Move Your Body. So obviously, I think on the surface, it can seem like obviously a kind of a more upbeat song, but it's a similar vein where you're talking like, okay, I know your type, especially you, Olskool, your last time you're laughing.
Exactly.
So why did you feel like this message was important enough to have its whole song compared to just being part of I Know You?
Oh, I Know You or Move Your Body? Which one?
Move Your Body. Like I said, how was it important for that to be a whole song? Yeah.
Yeah, because Move Your Body. Okay, first of all, let me just come right out and say what I always say. Me and EP are sarcastic. Like it's our style to be sarcastic. So to make the song fun, we took a sarcastic route to say Move Your Body, because Move Your Body is actually a known house record in Chicago. And it's a song go Move Your Body, don't move your body, right? So if you listen to Move Your Body, it sounds like I jokingly call Move Your Body a mid-tempo club song. If you listen to it, it sounds like a party record. You want to dance to it, and I know DJs will play it in the club because it has a overtone of let's dance. So Move Your Body, but that was too straightforward for Abstract Mindstate to just say Move Your Body, like that meant cool, let's dance like we knew in Chicago. No, it became like move your body like out the way. You're the wrong. You're the wrong one. You're move your body like you're not what I'm looking for. And I think a lot of times what made the song fun, and then it's sarcastic in the spirit of how we always joke. We have sarcastic jokes. What make it fun and sarcastic is the fact that we rapped about something you always think about. You always think like not until we go home we be like, man, I didn't want to meet. That was like, that's not my type of chick, or that's not my type of guy. But you know what I mean? Like that's not, but you mess around and you waste your time, and or you allow them to take up a little of your time. And this time we was bold enough to just be like, nah, it's not you. Like we just gonna be straight up raw and be like, nope, like no. Like if I could, what's that term called, muffin, when you take somebody just push them, that's what, just muff them out the way, like nope, it's not you. So it deserved the whole song because it's definitely a common thing that nobody never really talked about. Yeah,
no, 100%.
I think each song like has these teachable moments, right? And that's why, and that's why we, that's why one of the reasons why it was needed, because like we rapping, we getting it in lyrically, but every song is saying something prolific. Yeah. Every song is giving you something to take away and build on. And I say it when we're at the documentary sessions, I say it to people all the time, like everybody in this audience is going to be able to take something away from these songs. Like it may be different for you. It may be different for you, John, but you take away from like, I feel good. Like you may grab something out of I Feel Good, but everybody's going to find something in each one of those songs that they can gravitate towards and that they can that resonates with them.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what I wanted to ask about next, that song. So I get, looking at that song, I guess like given that when you guys like came back into the game, you'd obviously had these like successful careers. It wasn't necessarily something you had to do. It was like the right circumstances have to be there. Kanye has to be the guy. Like, did that, I guess, give you the freedom? Because you're saying, I'm back with my first love. It feels like the first time. Yeah. Is that what allowed you to be so free with it?
Yeah, she and I talk about that all the time. Is I think the coolest part about recording Dreams Still Inspires for both of us is that we wasn't recording it as starving artists that had to do this or die.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that was the pressure that when you talked about pressure earlier, Jonathan, I think it was it you, AS? One of y'all brought up pressure. And if it was any pressure back in the day, man, it was just like we was always under the gun of the clock. We were, we could never. It was about paying for studio time. Well, with Kanye, I mean, he has studios with an S. So you know what I'm saying. Yeah. So recording for the first time, we could literally EP and I remember we used to talk back in the day, and I don't think I brought this up in the interview, but she's gonna co-sign this. I know we used to say to each other after recording, man, I can't wait till we at the point where we can like write in the studio, like, because to hear the music loud like that, blaring out those speakers and through that equipment, it's a different kind of vibe. Yeah. And we never got to do that. We never had a chance until now, until Dream Still Inspired, we got to sit in the studio or studio setting because Kanye creates rooms. They don't necessarily have to be the standard studio. He just creates a space for you. And it becomes a studio, and the music is killer loud, and you got a vibe, and it's the whole thing you wanted to do when we was under the gun of the clock. Where EP and I used to be looking up, okay, we got 30 minutes, we got to get this verse done. We got 30 minutes left, And some people may think that because we had that luxury, we sat around and just burnt time up. No, EP and I still worked. It was just no stress. Yeah, and we grown, It just, you know what I'm saying? It was cool. This may have been the coolest recording, I say, that we ever had, in terms of, just the comfortability.
Yeah. Okay. There's one song I actually want to touch on quite a bit. So there's a quote from J-Rock, it's a rapper from TDE, where he has a quote saying, "Stay off that social media. It's the devil, I'm telling you. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, it'll tell on you." And obviously you have a song that you kind of go into about social media, aptly named Social Media. So I guess for you guys, obviously you kind of mentioned a little bit earlier on where you said, you weren't really social media guys and kind of had to be forced to use it. Even though I think there was a picture of you with Apple Watch. I thought, okay, cool, trendy. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you're not too far removed.
Actually, everybody think that's an Apple Watch. I actually wear it's a Fitbit.
Oh, it's a Fitbit. Oh, okay, yeah.
That's a Fitbit. Everybody think that's an Apple Watch. I wear a Fitbit. I don't even deal with Apple products.
Neither one of us do.
Okay, yeah, neither one of us do. Like, yeah.
So, and there was even another lyric that I thought was quite standard, where it's like, if we share this common space, let us speak as prophets did. May not have the same account, respect what's been deposited for us. I thought it was a fantastic, crazy line.
Crazy. That's too much for them. But that's the double we was talking about. They weren't ready for that.
But I guess how do you guys kind of like, what is your kind of usage of social media in this day and age? Like, how do you look at it? Is it like, okay, I'll use it because, business is business, or do you find some sort of like, I guess, pleasure from it, like just in your normal everyday lives?
Okay, so it's both. It's both. Again, y'all asking some good ass questions. So social media, like in my verse, I talk about it being used as a tool and not just the opposite. And for now, for us using it, like with Olskool to tell you, for me, it was like, he'll call me, he'd be like, "Can you please set up your IG account?" And I'm like, "This shit, I don't know." You know what I mean? But what it's done and how it's made me feel was what we talked about earlier, creating a connection with people in Australia.
Of course,
connection with the 16-year-olds. Like, and for my BCBA life, that shit's not important. Like, that's not, and it's not even about getting your views up or anything like that. I'm loving the fact that people are inboxing me and inboxing Abstract Mindstate and posting, and they fucking appreciative of this art, of what we put out. And the only way that we can, without performing in Australia right now, or the only way that we can let them know that we're appreciative of it, is hitting them back on the social media thing, and acknowledging, man, thank you for digging the space, blessings to you too. Thank you for saying, like somebody told me last night, like, I didn't even know I was missing this type of shit. Like, I didn't even know this type of shit existed. Thank you, Abstract Mindstate. Thank you. Listen, that social media, like, it is a gift and a curse. It's all about how you wield it, right?
Of course. Yeah, of course.
And that's definitely why we created the song Social Media, to just talk about the imbalance. We wanted to talk about the yin and the yang of social media, because there's a incredibly great upswing, but then there's this really dark low to it as well. So
do you think there's a solution to that? Do you think a solution exists? Because I guess you guys kind of do.
You know why I believe it's not, and I'm sure EP believe it's not, because of human beings, man. Like, we too complex of people. And as long as you give somebody, like, I personally feel, I'll go on record and say, I don't think everybody should have a voice. And that's what social media did. It gave everybody a voice. Everybody shouldn't have a voice. As much as freedom, I'm all about freedom. I'm a United States citizen, and we're more free than most countries, all that good stuff. But man, everybody doesn't deserve an opinion that millions of people get to read, because some people just really... it's dangerous. Some people just, not some, a lot of people abuse that privilege, that we have.
Let me ask you a question. What if Hitler had social media?
Fair enough.
Did you see what he did? Did you see what he did with just the regular propaganda, with no fuck? Did they have phones in? You know what I'm saying? Like
that's true.
Like, no, it's crazy, but it is.
That's true.
It is definitely a tool to be wielded by people and elements of the world that are responsible enough to use it to build rather than destroy.
No, that was I just wanted to quote. You almost quoted my line. What happened to us building up? All I see is tearing down. It's wearing out, playing out, funny style, a bunch of clowns. That right there. You see what I mean? So that line was so real that she just said it in general conversation. She wasn't thinking about the rap, but that's exactly. You see what I'm saying? So.
And you know what? What I'll do is I'll give some brevity to social media. Social media is actually the song where Ye made me change my entire verse. I thought I had a hot ass verse. I thought I had a hot ass verse. And Olskool came back. He was like, Ye heard the songs in social media. He said, tell EP to change her verse or to stay on topic, or this gonna be your solo song. I started writing.
What the fuck?
I started writing right then. Like, this ain't gonna be no solo nothing, right?
Exactly.
Right then.
Exactly. Look, it's no room in the first real release for solo projects, for solo singles.
Exactly.
And he sure said it. He sure said it. And I looked at it. I was like, I wanted her. I'm like, I want you on this. And he was like, man, you killing it. You bouncing. EP all over the place. She got to stay on topic. If she don't do this, this is gonna be your solo song. I was like, uh-oh. I was like,
Jesus Christ.
So so just to show y'all, that's how hands-on and hard he was going with us with this record. He told me a line just to take some of the pressure off EP. I said, I forget which song it was, but I said a line, and he was like, you see that? What you said right there? That's a bar. But what you said after that, would Nas say that? And I just looked like what? He's like, you got to change that.
Everybody else. He said that was God level. Then
he said that was God level.
That.
What you said after that? Would Nas say that?
Yeah,
he's like every line got to be God level. I was like, oh,
but like
wow,
I can hear it.
I can hear it as well.
Yeah.
Oh man, I mean, some of these lines I will say, I mean, they definitely hit that mark. I mean, there's I guess one of the songs I just want to talk about quickly, Elevation, because you guys mentioned like you didn't really use social media much, and like but I think what's remarkable as well is that you still kind of found a connection. Maybe it relates to America, but I think maybe unknowingly, I think you kind of related to, I guess, most urban communities around the world, where I think where EP says, have you ever noticed the ghetto the same everywhere, same strings, the pedal the same everywhere?
That's
People
one of my favorite lines.
Yeah, like that's
one of my favorite lines.
One of the favorite openers on the album, where I'll just quote for people where it says, people scared to shine, but like their brothers like solar flares, and she can't read, but she's filling out like questionnaires. Like, I don't know if you guys know that, but like, I think people in London relate to that. I think people in Paris relate to that. Like, I guess, did you know that right in that like intro, or was it just kind of like, oh, I'm just thinking about like America and like the all the hoods? Like, did you kind of know it was gonna have that impact?
I can give something away for Elevation. Like one of my favorite. I'm a huge martial arts movie person.
Okay.
Right? And one of my favorite movies is what is it? Into the Dragon. Is it?
Okay. Yes.
Or is it? Well, in one of the movies, Jim Kelly says to John Saxton, like the ghetto. He's like, because they're on their way to this island to do this big tournament, right? With Bruce Lee, everybody's on this boat, and they're looking at the kids on the boats next to them, right? And the kids are poor. They're fishing. They're like 9 years old, but they're fishing. They're out there fishing with their mom and their dad. And you can tell that it's poor because when you look around, all you see are these little huts, in the villages or whatever. And Jim Kelly. Jim Kelly says, they looking around. Jim Kelly was like, John Saxon asked him, well, what do you see? And he's like, man, he said, it stinks. He was like, the ghetto is the same everywhere. He pretty much, that is like one of my favorite lines from all the martial arts movies ever, and other than like choose the ball or choose the sword. But you know what I mean? And that's when we talked about elevation, the only thing I think about is my neighborhood, right? The first thing came to my mind was my neighborhood, the neighborhood where I grew up. And so like, it doesn't change because you're in the UK. It doesn't change because you're in China. We still have people with those strings, right? We just have to rise above. And I wanted to do a Godfather quote because of the front of the John Puzo novel, but that would have been too complicated. So I was just like Geppetto, fucking, So.
It works.
Nobody ever said that, AS. Nobody ever even said that line to me. Like, I thought the only person that caught it was Olskool.
Yeah, because okay, so we have a joke in the group. Within the group, we say we rap for each other because we love, we catch each other's lines all the time. Like I never forget. We were in Cabo, and EP sent her verse for
Brenda song.
For the Brenda song, and when she say got you open got you open like 2 12s. And I was asking, I said, did y'all hear what she just said? Open like 2 12s, that's 24 hours, that's always open. And then they was like, but I'm like, we live for those moments. You know what I'm saying? Like, so when she said, just like the line you just quoted, EP will tell you, I went crazy over there filling out like, because it was just the double entendre in it, the filling out. She can't read, read, but she's filling out like questionnaires. I was like, come on, man. It was like unfair at that moment, So I love her.
Olskool. Tiff hit me last night. Tiff was like, you fucking dope. Like she's like, you're fucking dope. Like,
oh man, that's crazy. Yeah, she talking about it's we live for those moments, guys. That's what all it is. Yeah. We live for those moments where we're actually saying something, but still able to be lyrical as we enjoy being.
Hey, Gree, what's your favorite line on the whole album that you did that you think nobody catches?
Oh, it's the one I always say. What's the one I always say? And I was like, they not catching that. And then you always like I did. What's the one? Because you always it's the same.
I thought about it the other day, and but I forgot what it was. I was like, it's one line in there. Like nobody catches it, and you was like, I was like, I caught it. What?
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about. I can't think of it. That was a look, but it's one you say, and you always say I caught it because I was like, man, they missing that.
I can't think of it right now.
I can't think of it either.
Yep.
I think about it while we still doing the interview, and if it come out, I just blurt it out. Like,
I mean, I'll give you guys one.
I think his favorite on one of my verses is when I would say tiny voice in my head, I'm calling
her. Yes.
Like nobody,
man,
he get mad.
I wait every time for when that line play, I look to see if they get it. Tiny voice in my head, I'm calling her Miss Chalet. It's like Miss Chalet has the tiniest voice in music.
And I'm on my way to LA.
Like, and you're on the way to LA, exactly. I'm like
when I said when he first heard it, he was like,
yeah.
That's what I mean, like rapping for each other. Like,
which one you was about to say something?
No, I was gonna say my favorite one's probably on Salutations when he's like a good dreams to all the who sleep on this. I was like, oh, that's a nice little line. I can't lie. That's a good one. I can't lie.
Oh
yeah. That first 4 bars.
Yeah.
That's a whole way to open the album right there.
Right. Good things to all of y'all hearing this. Good dreams to all that fall asleep on this. I just thought that was witty. Like, if you gonna fall asleep, good dreams, goddamn. If you sleep on it, good dreams.
You still gonna have good dreams.
You still gonna exactly.
Good dreams.
Yeah.
I mean, I think one of my favorites is probably expository mode. I just love. I mean, I don't think we talked about it yet, but I just love the delivery.
Jonathan, you like that bounce?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So
I think it's where you're like, they say my mouth too foxy, and that I talk too slick. I was like, the delivery on that is just, I love it.
So look, slick like a fox. Well, I bring some, like EP said, I bring some context to that song. That was one of Kanye's favorite verses from me, because he said, man, I love how nonchalant and just the way you styling out, like, push your line, little doggy. If it's just he just love the delivery. He said you sound so cocky and nonchalant. He said that was one of his ones where he said he loved me in that moment.
And you know what? One of my favorite things that I used to tell, and that I still tell Olskool, my favorite way, I love when he raps without stopping. Like, I love because I used to smoke cigarettes. And,
you mentioned this.
And you could tell back then. Like, I joke with people all in December, I'll be 10 years clean. Like, but his breath control has always been super paramount to mine. And when he did on expository mode like that, oh my God, because it's like the way it's like he's, excuse the word, he's fucking the beat. Like, he's like, bing, like, push your long little doggy if you feel a little froggy, hip hop to the spirit of this, make the coffee, oh my God, because he don't stop. Because on top of that bounce is some fucking heat, so he's killing the beat with the lyrics and the way he bouncing over the track. That's why I said to you, Jonathan, it's that bounce.
And the fact that you're like sampling, was it Get 'Em High, which is obviously Kanye West and Common and Tally. Yeah.
Woo. That's some heat.
Yeah, it's a song. Yeah.
I mean, What was you gonna say, Sandra?
No, I was just gonna say, I guess like stepping back a bit from the album, like as kind of mature, as old school rappers, right? as traditional rappers, like how coming back into the game after this, like how do you look at the Chicago rap scene now? How do you kind of like see it as evolving over the last kind of 16 years? Because I know we talked a little bit before about like when you were releasing your mixtapes, I guess Chicago wasn't kind of respected maybe in the same way, similar to how like Southern rap wasn't respected in the 90s? Like, how do you kind of see that transition?
We went from about 4 or 5 artists having record deals to now about 20 or 30, 40, 50, maybe even close to 100, because there's a lot of artists in Chicago that has a record deal. And when we were coming up, man, you literally could count them. You can walk, you can on one hand, you could count. When we were coming up, the signed artists were
Kanye, Cover,
Twisted, Kanye, Crucial Conflicts, Psychodrama,
The Brat.
The Brat. Like, it was you wasn't gonna get 10, Now, oh, it's a lot of these guys now. They all got their deals, and I can say over the last few years, the street element, because Chicago is not a place to play with, and when you start talking that street stuff, that's not a city. We were always traditionally a city that brought it for real. Like, we didn't talk about it. We didn't have the movies that LA had or the fashion New York had. Everything was real in Chicago. So it was always very dangerous to talk that talk. So what's happening now is, because what happened to me, I actually joke about Chicago with rap music, because I said, man, Chicago didn't get the memo that all of these rappers really just create mini movies. They're not really doing this stuff. I was like, Chicago didn't get the memo. Like, so we really were shooting people, and really were, really were killing people, and really were jumping them and beating them. It wasn't just talk, You know what I mean? Because NWA, although, they dealt with the police, and they made a stance. I look at NWA as the West Coast PE. They're the same as Public Enemy. They just dealt with different circumstances. So they dealt with it how they had to deal with it. You know what I'm saying? PE was more revolutionary and fight the power with it. And the West Coast, it was a little bit more crazy because of the police. They had to go about it their way. It was like a Malcolm and Martin thing. But I'll say this. On both sides, they weren't every day, like literally in gun wars every day. Like, the NWA wasn't really getting chased by the police every day like they were in their videos. Well, in Chicago, those rappers really are. It's actually real. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, everything is real about the Chicago scene. And that's a problem for me, a problem for us, because we see that we understand the death and destruction that comes along with that. And it gets kind of scary. You know what I'm saying?
And it gets personal. It gets
personal and it gets scary.
It touches your family.
Yeah, it touches family. And everything you guys are seeing, unfortunately, is not anything new. These are all a series of retaliation killings. Like, payback. It just keeps going back and forth, and more people are dying. So I'll say, just so people listening won't get lost to the question when you ask the evolution of what do we think hip hop now. The only thing I can do without is the fact that it's gotten so dangerous in the music. The music, somehow they've injected the danger in the music, and it's bringing exactly what they're talking about to their front steps. Yeah. So, and that's why we talk about life. Abstract Mindstate, we talk about life and elevation and all that. We speaking what we want into our lives. We're not speaking.
There's nothing wrong with talking about your reality.
Your reality,
but you also have to paint a picture of an alternative of because like I remember one of the famous lines that my favorite group, which is Mobb Deep, they had in there, no matter how much loot I get, I'm staying in the projects. Wow.
Forever. Don't forget forever.
Why? Why? Ain't the purpose of getting loot to leave the fucking projects so your kids won't have to go through what you did?
Right.
It's for me. Don't buy all your dope money and buy a nice ass fucking car sitting on this and doing all of this, but your ass never leave your neighborhood. You never leave. You never drive it. I say out south. Like, don't be out west and get this nice ass car and with all of these rims and all this beautiful shit, but you never even been downtown or to the south side. Well, what's the purpose? So
right.
I mean, to go to discussion again of Chicago. Do you guys have any favorites from Chicago, like at the moment?
Oh, definitely. You named it. I mean, some of those young guys, I'm into them. Like, you named No Name and Saba earlier. I like I like their music. No Name, she's she's an MC.
Yeah.
You know, she's not getting as much shine as I feel like she should. She had a runs. No Name had this moment where it looked like she was about to get hers. And I don't know. Y'all know what I'm saying, right? And then it just kind of dissipated. And I was like, whoa, what happened? Because she's an MC. I like No Name. She's a young spitter. EP would like No Name. And Saba, I had one time Saba, one of his earlier or first managers, I happened to meet him as a Latina kid. And man, I was really into Saba. He was like really cool and dope to me. But even he kind of, I mean, you know, his buzz, whatever, for whatever the reason is, then died down. But my point is, I like those guys. You know, I like the guys like that. I like the
Vic Mensa.
Yeah, I love Vic Mensa, and you know, people like Vic Mensa who spit. See, we like Vic Mensa spits. I call him. I don't know how he would take it if I said it. I think he'd take it as a compliment. But I call him like the young version of like a Chicago version of like Black Thought, and I like to call him that because he came from a band, Kids These Days, that was like a young Roots. They were like a young Roots, and he was like a young Black Thought, and that parallel is easy to see because he cares about being a traditional lyricist in the traditional sense of hip hop. He cares about being a lyricist, and you can hear it, you know. So I really dig Vic Mensa. He can spit like him, and Chance can spit too, but Vic is more. Vic is, you know, Chance will get real crazy on you lyrically. He can really put it down. I like Chance too a lot, but Vic just like a little more. You know, it's no play with him. He getting it off. He not singing. He not playing with it. Where was Vic singing?
Vic like Cap. Vic like Cap D.
You got Cap D, right? You know what I'm saying? He just gonna spit. You know. Yeah. And if you wonder who Cap D is, actually on volume 2, was it volume 2? We had a song called Just Spitting, and we put him on it because that's all Cap D does is he just spit. So we put him on a song called Just Spitting. So on volume 2 of Chicago's Hottest Working on mixtape from back in the day.
That's Cap D from All Natural.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's I feel like we're kind of drawn to a cool conclusion there.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, it's been awesome kind of talking about the whole journey as well. And like those like little stories that I guess you keep coming back to as well. Like I guess we've obviously listened to the interviews you've done so far, and like you hear the anecdotes, and then as you're talking again to us, you're like coming up with new ones. You're like, oh, and then he said this, and you said this.
Say, y'all coming with some questions that sparking stuff we haven't talked about.
Yeah.
You know, I you know. Yeah. So I appreciate it.
No worries. I mean, thanks for coming on. I mean, again, for listeners at home, please check out the album. Dreams Don't Expire turned into Dreams Still Inspire. Yeah, we call that as well. Right. Yeah, but no, honestly, check it out. Probably again, I guess the diamond in the rough when it comes to 2021, I was not expecting. Because I always say to John, every year there's always one artist, don't know where it comes from, new or old, that you're just like, oh, where have we been this whole time? And I feel like you guys are that one.
But we focused.
Exactly. Do you know what I mean? So honestly, guys, check them out. Honestly, a lot of good songs there. It's not even that long. It's like 32 minutes and some change.
Is a vinyl coming? We've got to ask that question.
The vinyl is in the works. Vinyl, just to say this, and hopefully everybody just pile in on the pre-orders when we put the pre-order link up. But vinyl is backed up internationally because, as y'all know, vinyl sells more than downloads now. Vinyl is back with a passion. It takes 22 to 26 weeks to get wax now. Jesus, that is so long. And I'm talking, I mean internationally. Internationally, I don't care who you're dealing with. That's how long it takes because it's so backed up. Imagine every record label on top of independence and everybody trying to press wax. And it's a limited amount of pressing plants now because times change, and I guess they didn't think we would get back to wax, and now we're back. And now these limited amount of pressing plants are stuck with doing the world's vinyl records. You know what I'm saying? So I'll say this: a Dream Still Inspire. Our order is in.
Okay, cool. Hopefully we get a couple.
We'll keep checking the updates then on that. We need
to, please.
It's funny actually. Before we move on, it's funny you mentioned earlier about like you know, like the listening to music was like an event. You're like, are we going to eat today? We're going to like listen to the Mid-Top 8 this Friday. Actually, we're obviously into our vinyls. Tops coming to mind. We've got a vinyl that we've pre-ordered, and it's like it's an event.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah,
But
so,
no.
But yeah, obviously we've got our kind of now and then playlist. If you guys want like a couple minutes to think of like a newish song or a throwback, then we'll kind of take it away first of all.
Well, I mean, I have a new
Yeah.
song definitely for y'all,
Cool.
and I definitely have an old one. I mean, the throwback for me is, I would say, Something About You by Level 42.
Mm-hmm.
That's some British. That's one of the Brits back in the 80s.
Okay, cool. Fair enough.
Okay,
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. That's a 80s British group. So
Cool.
yeah, they're from the UK. Something About You. The group is called Level 42. The song is Something About You.
Okay,
And I mean, something new. Man, of course, man. Come on, man. Come on.
Yeah, you can plug it.
Come on, man. It's
Plug
got to
it.
be some abstract, man. Move your body in there, man.
Okay, cool. We'll take that. We'll take those. I'll go next. I don't mind giving people time. So, a new song. I will go Sunshine by Cleo Soul. Have I added that already? Can I do that sometimes?
I don't think you have.
Okay, Sunshine by Cleo Soul. That's my now song. And a throwback song. 97 Ho by Benny the Butcher. Is it 97 Ho?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I'll
the
add that in. That's a good song. So yeah, those are my two.
EP, where you at?
For me, let's do Liberation off the Aquemini album for my
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Okay.
Yeah.
and let's do Anything Griselda. Anything.
Nice. Okay. Anything Griselda, John. Anything.
I was actually gonna say, you know what? Not even Griselda. Let's do I got, because my I got two favorites on Ice-Gre. I'm trying to see which one I want.
Okay. I know what you Soda is your joint.
Sound Off the Alarm. Abstract Mindstate.
Cool.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
I just
Cool.
can y'all see
right.
that? Can y'all see that? Look at this. Can y'all read that? I
Yeah.
just got this text.
Yeah.
That text says these social media apps they making keep us off distracted from real life elevation. And then he said, my goal is to go up. This is a text I just got. This is from a pastor, a young minister that's listening to our album. He's a young pastor.
And that's what we've been getting. That's what we've been getting.
You see what I'm saying?
Hey, John, what's
Shout out to Minister DeWine Bell.
Let me think. So new song. I feel like we've got to do the Kendrick's obviously back. So Family Ties,
Okay,
Baby Keem, Kendrick Lamar.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
I think, yeah, it's so, because like after so many years away, like when you finally hear him, you're like, damn, all these flow switches. This is what I've been waiting for. My throwback song, I'm gonna go for, because you guys, there was a sample of Grand Poobah on your album, so I'll go with Grand Poobah. I Like It.
There
you go.
Cool.
Great
I
song.
like it.
Yeah. And you can find our playlist.
That was from 2000, wasn't it? The album 2000, yeah.
I think it was
Grand
released.
Poobah, honey.
It was released the year me and Tops were born, 95.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
But I mean, as John mentioned, you can find our playlist on Spotify. It's called Now and Then. You can find the tracks that Olskool and EP kindly added for us. Check us out on social media, the Vinyl Collective, on pretty much everything. Instagram, Vinyl Collective Pod, Twitter, TVC Pod, and yeah, you search Vinyl Collective on Google. It should come up at this point. I hope it should. Anyways, check out these guys, Abstract Mindstate. Are there any other socials you guys want to plug? I know Olskool, Ice-Gre is pretty much the same on Instagram.
Yeah, Ice-Gre is the same.
Yeah, exactly.
At Olskool_Ice-Gre, OLSKOOL _ICEGRE. And that's across the board on all platforms.
Mm-hmm. Cool. And
EP the Hellcat, same. On Facebook though, it's Danky Mitchell.
All right, cool. No worries. So yeah, go and check them out. Honestly, give these guys some love. Order the vinyl when it comes out. And thank you guys for coming. I think that's it from us.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Thank y'all for having us.
No worries. See you guys next
Peace
week.
to the UK, baby.
Peace.
Hope to see y'all soon. Shit.
Yeah, man.
Yes.